What's going on? I saw his face darken. Oh dear. Tomorrow's trial. That man's going on trial tomorrow, right? You will be defending him, I assume? Well... whatever the case is, there's one thing that I can say for sure. Here in London, no attorney worth his salt would take that man's case. Because the prosecutor is the Grim Reaper, right? Your client is beyond saving now. You'd only be wasting your time by defending him. But there is one thing that strikes me as peculiar. What's that? That old Deathbringer hasn't stood in court for a good few years. He only recently started doing it again. Is that so? And he only prosecutes infamous criminals. Or those who commit the most heinous crimes. Infamous criminals? Heinous crimes? His past marks were all men who would be sentenced with the death penalty. But that's not the case this time. You're right. The young woman was stabbed, but her life remains intact. Can't imagine why he would show up in a small fry case like this. I don't really agree with the phrase small fry. Maybe he has some specific reason to do so. Would you happen to have any idea what that reason might be? Mere men can't comprehend the inner workings of the Grim Reaper's mind. You'll just have to ask yourself, or ask for yourself when you get to court tomorrow. Shall have to face the Grim Reaper again. Alright, Holmes. Is his... I was gonna say, I wonder if his what's-it's gonna change. His pose. Hey. Tell me who you heard that name from. Huh? Oh, it was Husky who told us. He said that Mr. Holmes stormed into his room with a bunch of yard officers. Must have been another one of his great deductions at work. Don't be ridiculous. That lousy amateur. He's always poking his nose into everything. First, he catches wind of an incident from some bumbling idiot, he runs off to the crime scene. And seconds later, he's circling the area spewing incomprehensible nonsense. But before you know it, he's suddenly solved the entire case. That's impressive, to say the least. But isn't he an important asset to Scotland Yard? Nonsense. Do you know what this is? Yeah, that's the Strand magazine. It's a magazine that serialises the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. In that ridiculous excuse for a novel, all of the detectives of the Yard are just constantly being insulted by that great detective. In fact, I'd say they might as well call that drivel the base slanders of Sherlock Holmes. Wow. Well, I do admit that it does occasionally come off as such. We're working as hard as we can, but because of him, we're laughingstock. Or, we're a laughingstock. He's a terrifying threat, not just to criminals, but to the Yard as well. Are you sure you should be comparing Scotland Yard to criminals? Seems like the Great Detective and the police have a pretty complicated relationship. Alright then. Looks like that's all the information we can get from the inspector. Naruhodo, may I have a moment? What is it, Susato? Your attitude changed all of a sudden. This is just my opinion, but I think, perhaps, at this point, we ought to see what our old friend has to say. Oh. You mean Sherlock. By old friend, do you mean Sherlock Holmes? Yes, indeed I am unquestionably referring to Sherlock Holmes. That twinkle in her eyes is clearly excitement. Yep. As I recall, didn't Sosuke mention Mr. Holmes as well? Yes, he did. He did indeed. With that in mind, one could say he's related to this case as well. This is absolutely not my own self-indulgence. but we don't know his address, so it's at Baker Street. Don't throw me. How did you know that? See, it's written in this book. 221B Baker Street, the address of the world's most famous detective. I see. Then shall we head on? We'd better get going before Sasato's excitement rises to a fever pitch. No, let us call for a coach. Looks like we're meeting again, sooner than expected. Sherlock Holmes. Alright. Oh, we're actually going. A new destination's been added. Holmes' room. I've always wanted to come here. Oh, it's like a dream come true. The home of the world's greatest detective. Apparently so. Cutscene! Kind of. Well, yeah, it is. Ew, god, it looks weird from. Their faces look weird from a distance. Look at them go, though. I was about to say, where's Baker Street? But there's a bloody sign right up there. Good day. To Baker Street. Alright. Oh! This looks pretty damn fancy. God, look at her eyes. What the hell? What fancy-ass place does he own? Jesus. Dude's loaded. I mean, with all the gadgets and shit he has, I'm not surprised. What? Holmes' room. What the bloody hell? So, this is Mr. Holmes' office. It certainly has a strange vibe to it. Oh, so it would say— Jesus. What the fuck? What do you think, Sasato? Is it just like how it's written in the books? Oh god. Sasato? To think. So many mysterious cases must have been solved in this very room. Yeah, no doubt about it, huh? I've never read any of it myself, so I can't really say for certain. She is really happy. The detective in pursuit of villains hiding in the shadows of the foggy streets of the capital. Ah, how wondrously over-romantic. It gets your heart pounding, your blood racing. Doesn't it, Naruhodo? Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course, no doubt about it. Because of all that. I'm just a little overcome with emotions at the moment. Please, pay me no mind. Alright, right. Sheesh. What the hell? It looks like the good detective isn't home. Hello? Is anybody home? Oh, guests. Wait. You're here again. Who are you? Hello there. Do you have a big case for us? Oh. Hello. Again. Uh-huh. Say, you wouldn't happen to be... Oopsie. Hang on a sec. I'll go start brewing some tea for you. What? If I recall, this girl was... Sasato, you saw that girl just now, right? Wow. This is really amazing. Nope. Even the King of Bohemia came here to request Mr. Holmes' expertise. The King of Bohemia? His Majesty King Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund von Ormstein. Jesus. Never heard of him. Put down the adventures of Sherlock Holmes for a second and look at this. Look, he's that teeny little girl again. Alright, tea's done. Have some fresh baked biscuits too. Ah, you're... weren't you... I knew it. Looks like I wasn't mistaken after all. Who are you? Yeah, we know, we saw her at the trial. Oh, you were here all along? Yeah, she was pissed. She got a bazooka out of nowhere too. Stealing things is a big no-no, you know that. And I was so excited to test out my new smoke launcher prototype for myself. And now she's gonna get it. Oh yeah, well you could call me an inventor? I made this smoke launcher. The girl who appeared in the lobby after the trial. You know, this is my first time seeing an Asian lawyer. You only just arrived in London and you're already getting put to work. Tough, huh? Yeah. But it's no big deal. This tea is my own special blend. Go on. Drink up, down the hatch. Alright. Bottoms up. I don't think I've had tea like this before. Well, you can't beat a great British tea. Wow, how do I put it? It has such a mellow, yet sweet aroma. Oh, perfect. Success. I tried blending a tea with a fragrance that helps relieve fatigue. Now's not the time to be tired out from your trip. You've got another big case tomorrow. What's more, you're defending a fellow Japanese guy. You gotta give it all you got. How did you... by any chance, did you hear about us from Mr. Holmes? Wow, do you guys know Holmesy? Holmesy? Actually, we travelled here on the same ship as Mr. Holmes. Whoa, really? I had no idea. Who are you? Holmesy only just got back from travelling abroad, but he's already up and at it today. Wait a second. I'm positive that this is the girl we met after the trial yesterday, but... why does she know so much about us? You don't suppose this is another one of those deductions, do you? Putting that question aside... just what in heaven's name is this girl doing here in Mr. Holmes' office? Oh, how rude of me. I haven't even introduced myself yet. Who are you? Yeah, give me a name, please. Jesus. Of course. It's Watson. Jesus. I was not expecting Watson to be a chick. Of course. I near called her Irish. Shit. I'm Iris Watson. How excited I am to make your acquaintance. Mr. Holmes and I live here together. Oh, Iris, was it? That's such a pretty name. How old is she? Like, she's tiny, so I'm like, is she like 8? She's 10. I wasn't far off. We're all fairly young, to be fair. Like, Naruhodo is 18? Or is he 20? Sosato is 16. Right, so she's 10 years old. Wait, whoa. That mentioned a PhD in medicine. No way. Okay, she does. What? Lives with Mr. Holmes, a wonderkind who holds a PhD in medicine and has published a very popular series of novels. She has a PhD in medicine and she's 10. What? A genius. What's the matter, Sasato? Wait just one moment. Miss Watson? Does that mean... is she the one that wrote The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes? What's the deal? Sasato got so flustered out of nowhere. Uh-huh, that's me. And what about you guys? Ah, right, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, attorney at law. Oh. My name is Sasato Mikotoba, and I am his legal assistant. Pleased to meet you. Susie and Ryu. Got it. Susie? Ryu? This is starting to get silly. But I have so many questions. I guess I should start by asking her. I agree. God, she's so small. Iris. I believe we met yesterday at the Old Bailey, right? Yep. Thanks for everything you did yesterday. Oh no. We should be the ones to thank you. I remember being held at gunpoint by that horrifyingly large weapon before you came. Like this, right? Speaking of yesterday, I seem to recall you dragging Gina off somewhere. Gina? Yeah, that hot-headed witness from yesterday's trial. Oh, you mean... Jean Bean. Oh my god, she's actually a pickpocket. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, we guessed as much. She's such a meanie. You can't just go off stealing people's inventions. Inventions? Are you talking about that huge, dangerous toy? Yep, so I had to chase after her in order to get it back. If I knew something like this would happen, I would have put a self-destruct function on it. This girl says some scary stuff. Anyway, after that I brought Jean Bean back to my place. I wanted her to apologise to the technician that helped me make it. Technician? Of course. That's my Holmesy. Oh my gosh, she did the same thing as him. Did you call him Holmesy? You know, Holmesy and I live together in this flat. Wow. I never would have guessed that Mr. Holmes had a little girl. Whoa, no way. I'm not his daughter. Huh? Even I wouldn't call my own father Holmesy. In that case, why are you two living together? Good question. Well, London flats are just so expensive, no matter where you look, you know? But it's way cheaper to go halfsies with a roommate instead. Roommate? Excuse me, Miss Iris, how old are you? I just turned 10 this year. What about your father and mother? Are they not... Well, you see, I actually don't have anyone like that. Wait, what? Really? She must have a tough life. She's got a PhD in medicine. What on earth? Watson? May I ask you something? Sure, you can ask me anything, Susie. I'm actually an avid fan of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, is that the Strand magazine? I've read every issue, even back home in Japan. I had them all shipped overseas. Wow, so even you Far Easterners are reading my stories, huh? Did you just say my stories? Holmesy just loves telling me all about the cases he solves. And they all turn out so fascinating. So I thought, why should I be the only one to hear about these tantalizing tales? What? You're the author? Just last night, he was telling me about the case that he solved on the steamship. I'm actually in the middle of working on the manuscript for next month's issue. You've been... working on the manuscript? Yep, this is just between us though. I think I'll call it the Speckled Band. The Speckled Band? Those words sound very familiar. I always stretch the truth a bit here and there though. Like this time, I'm planning on just making the venomous Indian snake the culprit instead. If I recall, that was one of Mr. Holmes's crazy deductions. Now, just so you know, I do know that's not how snakes work. But you know, it's just a story, right? Might as well make it as crazy and entertaining as possible. So that means... all of the Sherlock Holmes stories that have been published in this magazine. Yep, I wrote every single one of them, with this cutting-edge typewriter to boot. But I thought... all of these stories were written by John H. Watson, MD, weren't they? Susato is having some trouble controlling the volume of her voice. It's like she's shrieking. Believe it or not, that name is actually referring to me. Is that a pen name or something? After all, I'm just Little Watson. Then how do you explain the MD part? Well, you see, I'm an MD. What? At the age of 10? Yep, at the tender age of 10. Huh. That's impressive, to say the least. Oh god, she's gotta start crying. Please excuse me, but... Dr. Watson is a gentleman. I see what you mean. I just had to make some quick edits to my portrayal. What do you mean? I mean, come on. Don't you think it'd be a little weird if I didn't? What kind of great detective takes a little 10-year-old girl everywhere he goes? I wonder if that's what we're seeing at the start of every case. Yeah, because we have Watson and Sherlock, like, talking to each other. I wonder if they're parts of the, Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Well, I suppose you have a point. Susato looks like she's just had her soul sucked out and trampled on. Sheesh, your reasoning. By the way, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. What is it, Ryu? How did you know that I was an attorney who had just arrived in London? And even queerer, you said tomorrow would be another difficult trial. Oh, that's all? We'd love to hear an explanation for this, if you'd please. Sure, I don't mind, though there's not really much to explain, honestly. Alright, so let's get this started. What the? Oh god, she looks goofy. Come one and all to Iris Watson's Theatre of Logic and Reason. Wait. Oh my god, this is incredible. First off, it was totally obvious from the start that Ryu was an attorney. After all, we first met in the defendant lobby. But what about the part where I just arrived in London? I can see your passport poking out of your pocket, stuffed in there with a boat ticket. Oh! It was a safe guess to assume that you had just arrived in Great Britain. Not to mention the fact that you went toe-to-toe against that prosecutor proves you're new to British law. You mean the Grim Reaper, of course. Also, Susie's hand still has some red left over from the stamp she received. That stamp is from the jail, right? You met a convict there for an interview. Oh. Did you know? They do that because they want to keep track of when visitors come and go. I had no idea. I like when she does that, it disappears too. By the way, they use a red stamp when a visitor wants to talk to a foreigner. So essentially, even though you two just finished a trial, you went to see a foreigner at the jail. Yet the two of you aren't looking gloomy at all. Thus, whoever you met with must not have been a friend or family, right? This all leads to one conclusion. You must have taken on a new case, right? I see. What about your deduction that the trial would be tomorrow? Hamzy came home yesterday talking about how he had just solved another case. I arrested a screaming Japanese man, he told me, grinning like a schoolgirl in love. A Japanese man? He must have been talking about Susuke. Yep. That must be a Japanese sword on your hip. Ah, there we go. And I think they call Susie's clothes a kimono. Obviously, the two of you came from Japan. From there, it's easy to see. How I arrived at the conclusion that you chose to defend the Japanese guy. There's just one more conclusion now. Hey! The two of you totally came here to ask Holmesy for intel on the case. That was cool. The Japanese man's trial is tomorrow. That's what it says on the memo on the mantelpiece. You see, Holmesy has a bad habit of stabbing all his memos with knives. Well, I suppose that should be enough. And there you have it. The great deductions of Iris Watson have... Iris Watson have been revealed. That was great. Unlike Sherlock's deductions, hers were spot on. Wow. That really was a great deduction. Oh. Did my deductions hit the mark? They were all exactly right. Amazing. Iris's great deductions are really something else. It even has all of Mr. Holmes's little flourishes on pomp. Well, all I did was just mimic the real deal. Either way, it makes things much easier if you're caught up on everything. Could you tell us more about that Japanese man? There we go. Incident with the Japanese. You said that Mr. Holmes arrested him, right? Yep. Holmesy had actually just returned from a trip abroad, but detectives were waiting for him at the station, so they dragged him off as soon as he arrived. Wow. The great detective sure is popular. Apparently, there were sightings of a suspicious hunchbacked middle-aged Japanese man. This man was running away from Briar Road, where a woman had been stabbed. Suspicious, hunchbacked, and middle-aged. That sounds like our suspect. I'm sure it must have been Susuke. Susuke, even. Susuke claimed that there was nobody else at the scene, though. It looks like it didn't see the witnesses. How? Holmesy used his classic deductions to figure out the guy's address. The police went straight to his flat, near the crime scene. Pardon me. And they found that suspicious hunchbacked middle-aged man trembling in fear. Got the bloody hiccups. I guess his deductions do get it right sometimes. Of course they do, he's the great detective. But if that incident happened only 2 days ago, why is the trial scheduled for tomorrow? That's way too soon, no matter what the case may be. You have a point. It doesn't seem like they're giving the investigators much time to work. According to Holmesy, it's because there's so much crime in the city. What? Scotland Yard is doing the best they can, but even they're having trouble keeping up. Is that so? I had no idea. Oh, pardon me. So they just don't have time to investigate and hold a trial for every single crime. They're short-staffed, underfunded, and usually the most suspicious guy is the criminal anyway. That's horrible. So this is the fruit of the pinnacle of law. The truth can be so bitter. Yeah, it looks that way. But if that's the case... now I'm even more worried about Suzuki. Thank you for answering all of our questions, Iris. We've learned a lot from you. You're so very welcome. I had fun too. By the way, Iris, where is Mr. Holmes right now? As you guessed, we wanted to ask him about the case. Oh, Holmesy? I think he must still be in the middle of investigating a case. Would that be Suzuki's case? Suzuki, was it? He said he was going to the guy's flat. Or to that guy's flat. If you head there, I bet you'll find him. But where might that place be, Miss Iris? I think the policemen are still investigating the scene of the crime, but... if there's an inspector by the name of Toby on... or is there an inspector by the name of Toby on the scene? Yeah, I remember. There was a Toby. I knew it. Well then. Will you give this to Toby for me? If you do, I'm sure he'll spill the beans. What is this? 5 shillings and a message card, I believe. Card addressed to the Inspector Gregson from Iris. A message is written on the back. So you'll answer anything the guy in the dark jacket asks, right? And then Inspector Gregson will just say okay to anything we want? Understood. Thank you so much for this, Iris. Wow. Now I'll get back to writing the manuscript to the Speckled Band. I'll prepare more of my specially blended tea for you, so come and visit again sometime. Thank you very much, Iris. Aww. Well, let's go. With that, let us return to the crime scene once more. Not bad. This card, along with just 1 silver coin, can influence the entirety of Scotland Yard. We return to the crime scene, with the world's heaviest coin in hand. Wait, is that to be continued? Fuck! It is. No! Ugh, crap. I will admit I can't stop yawning, so I don't know if it's maybe a good idea. Yeah. Like, it might be a good idea to just end the session here. To be fair, we only have an investigation and then the trial. The trial will more than likely be pretty long, I would have to say. But then case 5, which is probably going to be the worst. I don't know what to do. I could just go for it, but as I say, I'm yawning an awful lot already. Save! It doesn't really matter which I went over. Oh my god, I wish I could stop fucking yawning. Hey, if worst comes to worst, I can always do the investigation and then part of the trial next session. Yeah. That might be what I end up doing. We'll see. Regardless, I think I am gonna end the session here. I apologise that it's shorter than normal, but the fact I'm yawning all the time is probably a sign that I should not continue to record. But regardless, that is going to be the end of this session. Thanks so much for watching, I hope you have enjoyed, and until next time, take care.